Hi guys. So today I want to talk about the ideal job. I've had a lot of clients recently that have explored this discussion with me, and sometimes people say things like, my job's okay, it's not great, maybe I'm not meant to be in love with it, it pays the bills, it's work, I'm a little bored, but it's okay for now. And these comments always make me cringe because we spend more time awake normally at work than we do at home with our own families. And many of us work for 40 years. That's a lot of time. And to not be truly happy or in love or excited about what you do with that amount of time, that percentage of time, is a lot of unhappiness in our lives. So I wanted to share with you 4 things that I do where I ask people to start if someone's trying to identify, well, what would be my ideal job? And I wanted to share those with you today. Number 1, what do you love to do? What lights you up inside? What are you passionate about? All of us have parts of our jobs that we don't love as much as others. Figuring out the parts that you do love, those parts of the day or the week or the month that you just really look forward to, and figuring out if there's a job where you would get to do more of those things can be a really great place to start. Back in my former career in financial services, I loved coaching people, mentoring people. I liked writing reports whenever I had to do that. But I also had to do things that involved risk, audit, compliance, technology as part of my role. And I didn't love those things as much. And so what I did at some point was I created a job for myself where I only have to do and really get to do the parts of the job that I always have loved, the coaching, the mentoring, the teaching. So think about that. What do you love to do at work? What don't you like to do as much that just comes as part of it? And trying to identify if there's a job where you would get to do more of the parts that you love. Number 2, what are you really great at? What are you talented at? What are you naturally better at than others? We all have natural talents and gifts, things that kind of come to us from our genetics or our DNA, or they're just hardwired into us. And figuring out what those are, things that just appeal to you, that you naturally pick up, whereas others have to work at it or struggle, that's a really big deal. When we are putting effort or practice or time into those areas of our skill set where we have natural gifts and natural talents, we don't just get incrementally better, we can get exceptionally or exponentially better, and we really start to shine and we become a superstar. And it feels good to be a superstar. As an example with myself again, I have always been praised or acknowledged for being a great communicator, being good at coaching people, being good at teaching. I have not been praised, acknowledged, or given credit for being great with IT or engineering or computer related things. So I know that a role for me in IT, technology, that kind of work would be very difficult for me. It's not something I'm naturally good at. It's not something that I have natural talents in. It's not really something that interests me either. My brain just doesn't work that way. And so ensuring that your natural talents are aligned with the kind of work you're getting to do is really important. Number 3, what can you get paid to do well? Ultimately, I'm a big believer in that if you love your job, which is number 1, and you have natural talents or gifts in that area where you have a job number 2, you should be able to command some profits and be able to be compensated accordingly, because when you're good at what you do and you have natural strength in that area, you tend to excel and succeed and be a superstar and a top performer, and you bring tremendous value through those contributions and are very worthwhile, and you should be paid that way. I would say if you're at an organization and you don't feel like you're being compensated fairly, bring this up. Talk about this with your boss or perhaps with HR. Find out if there's a reason for it. Maybe you're not as big of a superstar as you think you are. Maybe others don't see you as you see yourself. Maybe you need to take additional training or get a certification to get to the income where you really want to be. Or even just asking your boss, hey, what do you think I'm really good at? What should my next move be? If I want to earn more income here, how would I go about doing that? What's your take? Talking to people that know you well can help figure that out. But if you've already had those conversations and more than once, and you don't feel that this organization, institution, wherever you're at, does pay you for that value or worth, it could be time to start looking. Because ultimately, if you're great at what you do and you love it, my belief is someone will pay you well to do that. You shouldn't just be scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, nothing like that. And finally, number 4, does your job or work allow you to have other things in your life besides that work? There's great organizations out there with great reputations for being the first, the fastest, the best. And we can probably think of examples of companies in the IT space, in the engineering space, in the tax space, or in the law space. I think about big 4 firms or organizations that right now have been in the news a lot. They're growing exponentially. And as great as that is, they do tend to be a burnout or a chop shop for a lot of people. They're great training camps for young people that are just out of college, but there can be an expectation in a lot of organizations to work around the clock. I'm talking 6 days a week, maybe 7, 60, 70-hour weeks. If you have a family, if you have hobbies, if you have a spouse, if you have desires to travel, if you want to be on a board of an extracurricular club, if you want to just have a scrapbooking habit or be playing soccer with the guys in your spare time, and your job does not allow any of that to happen, probably the wrong job. Over time, when we don't get to express ourselves and build a meaningful life in other ways than work, we can start to resent the organization that we're with and feel hostile towards that job. Look into this, figure that out before it happens. I believe that the best workplaces out there, again, where you've got a job you love, you're naturally gifted and talented at it, and someone wants to pay you well to do that, those kinds of jobs will allow you to have a life outside of work. So those are the 4 things. If you're trying to figure out what your ideal job is, what kind of job you want, I would start by answering those questions, asking yourself those questions, and digging into that. With that, I hope everybody makes a great day. And if you ever want to talk about any of this in your own life, I'm a message away. Reach out anytime. Thanks, and have a good one.